We pump those profits back into the profit cycle to generate even more profits. And I know what you're going to say. Profits? Yes, Stan. You're soaking in them.
Hey everybody, how's it going? It's your boy ExtrmWill with Extreme Tech. Taking another look at Salad. I think I'm at 26 rigs right now. I have my 27th rig is built. I'm just waiting on my next 4060 Ti to come in. And then we'll get that one on here probably in a couple days. But the machine is up and ready to go, so we'll see it in the list, but it won't actually come up. Well, we won't really see it. We might kind of see it. But if we take a look at the earnings, it looks like I had a couple hours here, a couple 15-minute blocks that were a little bit higher. I think everything on the, from update 1.6.2, says a little over 30 cents. So I have a little bit of times here where I am jumping up over 30 cents. So some of my updated machines are picking up jobs. It doesn't look like they're real long container jobs that are lasting, but it looks like they'll be an hour-ish. So, not necessarily terrible, but not the most amazing. I've already looked at my machines just to double check to make sure before I start recording this, but still been pretty consistent. I've been pretty consistent now for more than 7 days. So everything's over $30 per day. So if we go to this whole thing, it's been pretty consistent now for, well, sure, we'll include today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I've been pretty consistent now for about 12 days straight. So I'm pretty happy with that in general. I think I had a power surge right here. I don't know if that's the 10th going into the 11th. We lost power, and then everything got messed up for there for a while. But it looks like it was like 12 days. I think it just counted out here. I've been a little bit over $30. If everything was running a job perfectly, I would be running like the biggest jobs I could. I'd probably be making about $85 a day. So I think right now that puts me running about 40%. So for Salad, I think me running at 40% is probably really, really good. I think there's a lot of people who are actually running well under 40%. So, I mean, 40% though, still not good, but it's not terrible. I kind of have an idea what I was getting into. So if I had to shut everything off tomorrow, I think I could shut everything off tomorrow, but 40% is enough for me to not start putting everything on flux just yet. So, it's doing just good enough. So the earnings don't look too bad. Let's see, if we come back to this one right here, this is every 15-minute block. If everything was running the job perfectly, at the most amount they could, I'd probably be making about 85 cents every 15 minutes. So it doesn't look the same here, I guess. Well, I guess, yeah, that'd still be 40%. Because I'm in between 45 cents and 30 cents every 15-minute blocks. So it's not bad. Here's all the machines in order. So I have two 20 cores, one 16 core Threadripper, and then I have a whole bunch of 12 cores. Let's see, so that's 11, and then the 12th one is actually down here because I don't have a GPU in it right now. I could put like a 3070 Ti in it or a 3070 in it for like 2 days. But in general, I just think that'll be a bad idea because like the worst case scenario then is it actually picks up a job, and then I would have to cancel a job when the 4060 Ti gets here. So I think I'm just gonna wait until it gets here to put it in. Let's see. So once we get past the 12 cores, then I have 4 8-core PCs, 5 6-core PCs, and 3 4-core PCs. So let's get into them. So this first one we're going to get into, this is a 20-core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4090, running on version 1.6.2. So it's running a job. It's like $2.40. It could potentially be doing $7, but because it is running a job is better than calculating. So I'm going to wait to update it until I absolutely have to. Unless I feel like there are $7 jobs back in there, which I still think I probably still won't even restart it, just because I'm afraid if I quit this job, it will take 7 days to get another one. Let's see. I think I saw this one on a job like 2 days ago for $5. So I know somebody had posted in my comments that they thought that they had cut the earnings on salad. I don't think they have, because when you start looking across my machines, I don't think I have any of my 3090s making $5, but I do have a bunch of my random 40 series cards are still at $5, but not this one. This one's a 20 core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4070 Ti. It's calculating. Yeah, some of the stuff that's on the new version, 1.6.4, has to have jobs because it had earned a little bit more, but I'm not sure which ones right offhand. So this was my office PC. This is a 16-core Threadripper, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090. This is the one that was in my office for like the last 5 years, so I keep upgrading and playing around with. But since Salad came around, I figured I would just throw it out in the garage. And now we're doing everything on my Alienware laptop, so now you hear the fan from my Alienware laptop. But I guess it's not that much different, because even when I had the Threadripper in here, I guess when I had the Threadripper in here and I was doing Chia, I was running so many extra hard drives in here, you would still just hear the fan noise from all the extra hard drives. But yeah, doing $1.65. Seems to be what all the 3090s are doing right now. I think they got a lot of 30. I think they got like a ton of 3060 jobs, and they said instead of everyone's 3090s running idle, they were just going to let everyone's 3090s pick up all these extra 3060 jobs that they have. Yeah, I think it's still, I guess it's better to run the cheaper, smaller job than not run a job at all. So it is what it is. The next one, so this is the start of the 12-core Xeon processor. So all of these are basically the same thing. I think these next 12, it sounds about right in my head. I bought 7 of these from bcpcshop.com. It's Brandon Coin Shop, or bc/pc shop.com. It's Brandon Coin Shop. Yeah, I bought 7 of them from him, and then I started making my own. Just because I wanted to try to do it, because it's fun. And, so yeah. So, well, yeah, I guess, technically, I built more, because the 20 cores are basically the same thing, except instead of having the 12-core processor, they have the 20-core processor, and then I put a significantly stronger fan on. I put the factory-rated fan on. So, in this 12-core... 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4090, $2.40. Yay! This machine can do $7, but it's just not. It's currently, it must be on version 1.6.2. It's going to keep running until I have to update it, I guess. Till I lose power during a thunderstorm or the job ends. So... Alright, on to the next one. So this is another 12-core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4090. This one's doing $6 right now, so that's not too bad. $7 is the max, $6 though still pretty average. So definitely like that a lot. That's that can definitely anchor quite a lot, because that's like the equivalent of 3 3090s right now. So I'll take that. That's definitely going to be my highest earning machine. Now this one too, this is going to show me that I don't think people are talking about them cutting everyone's pay. They couldn't have cut everyone's pay because of how much this one is making. So this is a 12-core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4070. It's doing $4.62. I think technically this should be making about 10 more cents. So, but it's like within the variance. Like, I don't know. I mean, they could have cut my pay by 10 cents on this. or right now, because I'm screen sharing this, I'm using Chrome Web. What is this called? Chrome Remote Desktop. Because I'm using that, that could be just simply what's eating up the little bit of resources to drop the earnings down a little bit. I don't leave the Chromecast up and all that. I just have it up right now for while I'm doing these. It's easier for me just to have them all up at once. Or half of them up at once. Because when we get in the second half, I have to open up the second half. Then, just wait. I think I covered this already, right? This is the 96 gigabytes, 4070. It looks like it's making the right amount. $4.70 right now. So it's $5 max. I think these all make... how many gigabytes memory does these all have? Does they all have 12 possibly? Yeah, they all have 12. So I think all of these... all of the 40 series cards with the 12 gigabytes of memory, they'll make, 450 to 475 on average. And a lot of times I'll call it 5 because they can make 5, but normally they make a little bit under 5. You can still get 5, but it's more rare to actually get 5. But that's about right for where it should be. All right, we got another one going. Nice. This one looks like it's on version 1.6.3. Another 12-core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4060 Ti, doing $4.59. So that's right where it should be. And this is still on an older version. Definitely let it keep running this forever until I have to update it. I'm not going to just force an update for anything. So we're going to keep making money while we can be making money. So this one looks like it's on version 1.6.2. So it's still like 2 versions behind. 12 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090, $1.62. I think all of my 3090s right now might all be doing like that $1.70 range. Yeah, here's another one. 12 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090, $1.60. This one's on version 1.6.3 though. Alright, this one looks like it's fully updated, version 1.6.4, 12 core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 4070 Ti, making $0 and calculating. Yay. Alright, 12 core, 96 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3090, doing $1.70. 12 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3080, doing $1.77, beating all of my 3090s. 3080 10 gig cards are pretty, I would say they're pretty amazing for Salad. The earnings aren't necessarily like that great. I don't think the power draw is too insane, because if you look at this, it's still, right now it's using 4% of my GPU and 6% of the CPU and 39% of the memory. So it's like, it's not, you're not racking up your electric bill. This isn't using all like 300 watts out of like the GPU and out of the system, I don't have a voltmeter hooked up to this, but like, I don't think this is breaking 200 watts for the whole thing. So, it's probably still at, or this might even still be below. Well, that's probably right at my estimate cost per machine is 20 cents per day. Just kind of a rough estimate on how I can just kind of ballpark all of them, about how much I'm spending for electric, how many machines I have, and all that. So at 20 cents per day for electric, because it's not like the crypto mining where you're running everything at full speed. Oh man, let me turn the volume down. I'm not dealing with that. It's reminding me that we need to do an update on one of these many machines that I have open here. But these RTX 3080s, amazing cards for this. Like, once they get a job, they tend to keep them longer than any of the other cards that I have. So now for power draw, like a 3060, I think is technically a much better card to run, because I think you're still going to be doing like 50 less watts per day. But I think it's, in that point, I think it's still going to be like maybe 50 watts less, but I think this will run more consistently. So if this is always running, you know, I don't even know how much 50 watts would be in electric. It's probably not very much. Maybe 5-10 cents per day. Like, I think the 3080 always running actually winds up being probably better than the 3060 that's only running sometimes. Let's get to the next one. 12 core, 96 gigabytes, RTX 3090, $1.77. Yeah, so all 5 of my 3090s are doing about $1.70 and have been doing $1.70 for quite a while. I would be much happier if I had like one of them at $5. But I guess as none of them are calculating, I'll say okay for now. If I do get bored and start finding out a lot more about Flux, there's a good chance I might just throw all my 3090s on Flux. Just so I can get paid a little bit better, but I'm not super wanting to really do that though, because I think if I throw them on Flux, I think they're going to be burning like 3 to 4 times the electric that I'm burning right now. But it's hard to tell, because I don't like the way people have a lot of this stuff recorded. Because I know, like, one of the graphs that I saw, the guy had, like, his peak recorded for salad, but I already know from watching a voltmeter myself while it's running, like, it's only spiking a little bit. That's not what you're averaging, what he wrote down. Like, he wrote down the spike, and, like, yeah, it might spike for, like, 1 second, but that's not what your average electric use is. Like, it's also, you know, peaking way down below that for much more of it. So, yeah. I mean, yeah, my average cost per machine right now is only like, you know, I'm in the Tampa area, so I think I'm like 14 to 15 cents per kilowatt hour, or whatever it's calculated off at. So, I'm still pretty sure I'm still profiting at least $1.50 per day on these 3090s. This, you know, even on the rough side, this might be 25 cents a day that I'm spending right now. So I don't know exactly what it would be if I go to Flux. So, like, I'm worried about going to Flux and then getting like $1,000 electric bill and being like, where did this come from? Alright, let's go to the next one. What are we doing here? 12 core, 64 gigabytes, RTX 4060 Ti. Oh, up on the new 1.6.4, and it is not running. Calculating. I do got to remember to be checking these two, my WSL files, on these ones that aren't calculating. I did find one of my machines this morning where this was 2 days old, so I had to delete it and restart the machine, and I actually had to like restart the machine a couple times. Fun stuff. But I wasn't that surprised on that particular machine that it got stuck, because it seems to get stuck on certain machines, seem to have a harder time with it than others. Some machines, like, it's never stuck, so I don't know, it could be an issue with that machine. I think, like, on that particular machine, I might have an issue with the motherboard, but I do like having this up. I do have a video discussing where this is and what to do with it. If you have a machine that doesn't have had any work for 48 hours, it's a good thing to check. So everything right now that's just updated, I like to check. Now, this is one that is currently updated. We are on 1.6.4, and it is running and doing a job. So we are into my 8 cores. This is my first 8 core. i7, 8 core, 32 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3060 Ti. This one's doing $1.90, which is pretty good. This is on one of my ones where the motherboard's probably shot on it. But it's still running just good enough for me to keep it up and running. So it'll normally run for a couple days at a time, a handful of days at a time, and then it'll freeze or restart or something weird. So, but it's up and running now. I mean, I've had times where it's run for 2-3 weeks straight and then start giving me issues. So it's running now, so that's good. Doing a job. $1.90 on a RTX 3060 Ti. That's doing so much better right now than my 3090s are. It's crushing it compared to my 3090s. Crushing it. Alright, let's get to the next one then. So we are on another i7, 8 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3060, 10-cent job. I always just keep letting these run. Once it finishes, it's going to say that it's going to give you a better reliability score because you've completed another job. These are normally pretty fast. They don't tend to take more than like an hour. So sometimes they may take 2 hours, I guess. Like I don't watch them as much as I used to. When I first started this, I would sit here like just in front of the computer for hours just watching everything, figuring out exactly what it was doing. But like when I had lesser machines, like that time kind of with fewer machines, you know, that downtime felt like it mattered more. And now like my whole mindset in this really early on was going to be like I would just have kind of like in crypto when the difficulty went up, you just kept adding more cards so your earnings would stay the same. So in this I felt like if I have a certain amount of idle rate, if I just keep adding enough machines to make up for the idle rate, then everything will be good. But yeah, 10-cent job. I'll let it finish. It is on version 1.6.4, so it doing anything at all is amazing. But that's a good sign still. That it's doing a 10-cent job, so looks like the network is still up and running. There is still some work in there. That's not assigned out. So, alright, so next one, another i7. I can't see exactly what it is. I'm pretty sure we're on the 8 cores, so this should be an 8 core. 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070, doing $1.90. One of the popular YouTubers I like to watch, I say don't bother putting your 3070s on here. I say if you have the machine already built, like if you have extra computers lying around, even if you have like an old gaming computer from 10 years ago, as long as it has like 2 cores and 8 gigabytes of memory in it, throw a video card in there and see what she'll do. Or don't. Just let me do all the jobs. I'll do all the jobs. You guys don't need to bother doing any of them. Don't even listen to me. Don't even bother doing any of the jobs. I'll do them all. But no, I have one later on. Normally it's like one of the last machines we get to where I get into more of a spiel on that. But yeah, RTX 3070. I have a couple of them in here. I still have one more sitting. I'm waiting to put into a rig. We'll see what happens. Me and the wife are talking about what we want to do, like budget-wise with stuff. So I may have to plan out another vacation before I can start building machines again. But I think when we plan, after we finish planning that next vacation, it looks like we have everything covered for that. Then I think I can possibly go back to building more machines. So, but yeah, a couple graphics cards still lying around. I can get into them. So, but RTX 3070, making money. Here we go, another RTX 3070, making money 2 back to back. This one's on a Ryzen 7, so I believe this is still an 8 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070, doing $1.75. Nice. So that hits out the first set. Chrome Remote Desktop will only let me have 20 open at a time, because they're jerks. So we've got to open this last set here. Got to open them a little bit slower, just to make sure they all open. Because if I do it too fast, it'll just close them all down. Because it's still trying to run the memory from the old ones. So see, I believe that's machine 27 right there. It's coming real soon. The Windows is already fully loaded. Salad's already installed. It already has the driver on it for the RTX 4060 Ti. Just waiting to pick the card up here in a couple of days when it comes in. Alright, so we are on, I believe these are the 6 cores. 32 gigabytes of memory. RTX 3060 Ti. Fully updated. Calculating. Boo for the calculating. Not updated, so this one's making some money. Let's see. This is i5, so this is 6 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3060. It's on version 1.6.3. like $2.10. Nice. So you see the little boost in this one too. This won't happen all the time when you're above 40 gigabytes of memory, but if the customer specifically ordered and is paying for more than 40 gigabytes of memory, then a lot of times you'll see this little jump where this can go, it'll break the $2 mark for all of like the 30 series cards, everything other really than like the 3090. But they can go up to like $2 and like 50 cents or $2.44. So you can see this one's making that little bit extra because it has the more memory in it. It's a rare spot. You'll see something like that. It can happen. Like if you had 8 gigabytes of memory, this would be capped out, I think, at like $1.90. So, but for some reason, I think it's just got to do with like how the customers are ordering. Like I think the customers basically, they either order all of the memory, the more than 40, or they just order 8. I think there's very few who are doing anything other than that. I think that's part of the reason you see the pricing the way it is. It looks very uniform because the customers are really ordering either all one way or all another way. Like I think too with like when it comes to like the more cores, I think everyone is basically just ordering 4 cores because that's kind of what they have written out there. I think there are probably some people who order like the max, where like this is going to be real big. We know this is real big. We know what we're doing. But I think you get the vast majority of people are like, I want big number and cheap number. So, I think too when they go through, I think they tell them, all you really need is 4 cores. So like anything with more than 4 cores for Salad does pretty amazing. 4 cores, and then I think you only really have the 2 pricing points. I think there's the 8 gigabyte pricing point and the 40 gigabyte pricing point, and that's kind of what you see in it. So the like the 8 gigabyte pricing point is like the $1.15 to the $1.90 jobs, and then the 40 gigabyte pricing is the $2 to like $2.60 jobs. So take it for a grain of salt. I don't really know. That's just what I think. What it feels like I'm seeing. What I have seen from looking at all of these here for quite a while now. Alright, so on to the next machine. We have another Ryzen 6, a Ryzen 5, 3600, 6 core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070 Ti, calculating. Seen this machine do $2.44. Again, getting the boost from the extra memory. Alright, this one's fully updated, so let's go to the next one. This is the one where my file was frozen. Why does that not look right? Oh, because the screen was frozen. It wasn't coming up right. Why doesn't it have the right time on it? The time in the corner here, for some reason, it wasn't showing the right time. It was showing the right time here in my WSL file, but it was saying this was still showing 3:11 on it. I don't know. I think it's a little glitch sometimes with remote desktop. It can get a little sticky sometimes. But yeah, this is the one that I had to mess around with the WSL file this morning. I saw that it was 2 days old. Normally when you do that, you pick up a job immediately. I don't know why I didn't, or you'll pick up a job somewhat quickly. Maybe it did pick up a smaller job and I just already finished it. But kind of surprised it's not on one because I had just done that, but maybe there's just not any work in there, and that's maybe the problem is there isn't any work after the update. I have a theory too. I think part of when they roll the updates out, I think they specifically time them for a spot where they know there isn't really a lot of work, so everybody, to make it easier for everybody to update, and then they're like, this won't really interfere with everything if we roll it out right now while nobody's working. That's my theory, is they roll them out strategically, not just like, okay, we have one now, let's roll it out and then see what happens. I think that they roll them out specifically when there's no work. And that's why everyone gets frustrated when they do the updates. Because, like, why aren't these updated machines working? Because they roll them out when there's not any work to do, so you can do the update. Alright, so on to this next machine here. We're on another Ryzen 5 3600 6-core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3060 Ti, fully updated. Just calculating, not doing anything. Boring. Boo. Next one. This is my favorite machine in the whole wide world. Oh, it's not doing anything. I think it was doing a job there for like 2 days. So it might have been doing a job the last video I did, and I think I stopped here and talked for hours and hours and hours. Because this is the one that's on the DDR3, 16 gigabytes. It's a 10-year-old i7, 4 cores. DDR3 memory, RTX 3060 that's broken. I love when this one will do $1.88. Probably, I want to say right now it's probably doing it maybe 2.5 days a week. It'll do $1.88. It's definitely not my most consistent machine. It's probably my least consistent machine because this one is probably the most limited from memory out of everything I have. I can't put any more memory on that motherboard. That's the maximum amount the motherboard will take, so I'm not putting a new motherboard in there. So, yeah, it is what it is. Found this one, pulled it out of the closet, threw it in. It's made me a decent amount of money on sale so far, so pretty happy with it. Let's go to the next one here. I think this one had a job. Yes, it does. Another 3070 working. All right, and this is fully updated. So we have an i3, 4-core, 64 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3070. So listen, some YouTubers, they tell you, oh, you shouldn't even be running a machine like this. Well, probably. I guess the memory's good, but, you know, 4 cores and an RTX 3070. Why are you even going to bother running that? Because it's running and making money. So, yeah, it's on $1.77 a day. This machine runs pretty constant, so I definitely like it. I think it ran more consistently when I had the 3080 in here than the 3070, but I traded the 3080 in for a 4060 Ti 16 gigabyte because I thought that those bigger cards would make more money because that's what it looked like at the time. And right now it doesn't look like those bigger, more expensive cards are making more money. It makes me sad. But yeah, it had a 3080, ran a little better. 3070, it's still running pretty decently. Last machine, probably the most consistent, reliable machine that I have. It's i3, 4 cores, 32 gigabytes of memory, RTX 3080. It looks like this is still on version 1.6.2, and it'll probably stay on version 1.6.2 for ever and ever and ever and ever until I lose power. Or they force us into updating and they kick everyone out of a job who's not updated yet. But yeah, no, it's going good, chugging along. $1.80, 3080 10 gigabyte cards. Not necessarily the most energy efficient card, but as I stated when we talked about the other one earlier, like how much electricity is this thing really burning? I mean, I came from crypto mining. Like, my entire 26 machine operation is running nothing. I am running a little bit more right now than I was with my 34090s, two 4070 Ti's, and a 4070 in an Octominer. So, on most algorithms. So, I mean, if I were to take just those 6 cards right now and be mining on Ravencoin, I would be burning significantly more electricity right now than I'm burning with. I might be burning twice as much electricity. Let's take a look and find out. Where are we at right now? 34 minutes. Normally I end with something really silly anyways. So let's go real silly and just sit here and babble. So let's go in here and babbling. GPU calculator. Oh. No. GPU calculator. I don't want to save any. Hopefully that's good. Alright, so what was I saying here? 340 90s, 240 60 Ti's, 140 70. That's 15 cents. I wonder, can I find Raven coin specifically? I can't remember. Here we go. Nope. I'm actually burning a little more right now with all of mine. I am probably at, because I've added more machines. I added one more machine since I looked. So I'm probably at about, you know, we'll say 1600 watts right now for my 26 machines. So my 26 machines, that's not the best way to look at it. So about 23 machines, 22 to 23 machines would be about the same equivalent right now of mining those 6 cards on Ravencoin. Yeah, so it's not really even comparable. It's just kind of silly. Hopefully that made coherent sense. If you guys liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe, come on back. I'll make more videos. I've got a couple more I want to make where I just like do random breakdowns on just different cards, but I'll find different times to film in. I still want to do the overall pricing update like every couple of days, so kind of people can kind of see and go like, oh, okay, this is where it goes, like up and down and up and down, and like, you know, if I'm running at 40% and are you also running at 40%, you know, does that look good and make sense across the board? You know, how much can specific cards make? I made a pretty decent comprehensive video on how much each card can earn under the different settings with the cores and the memory. I think it's a pretty good video. I was pretty happy with it. So, yeah. If you want more content, hit the like button, subscribe, come on back. We'll make more later. See you next time. Peace.